Yo, what is going on, guys? It is me, Nicole here, and in today's video I'm going to be teaching you guys how I make my reaction thumbnails. So yeah, guys, without further ado, let's hop straight into the video. Be sure to like and subscribe, and let's go. Okay, guys, so the first thing you want to do is open up Photoshop. That is the program I use. I use Photoshop 2023, but it generally doesn't matter what version of Photoshop you use, just make sure you have Photoshop installed. So then, guys, all you want to do is head over to New File. You want to make sure your width is on 1920 by 1080 on pixels, and put the resolution to like 120. You know, you want that crisp, clean quality, and then just click the create button. Guys, all you want to then go ahead and do is import your photo, you know, like your reaction face. Now, a tip for reactions is you want to make sure they're over exaggerated. Okay, in mine, as you can see, I look really over the top. That's just something you need for obviously thumbnails to be clicked on, so just do that, guys, trust me. So for me, I've gone with this one. The lighting's not great because it was kind of rushed for this video, but obviously during your thumbnails they'll be a lot better and you'll probably take them more professional. So the first thing I do is actually I do the camera raw, which is basically correction on the video. So that's exposure, white, blacks, texture, clarity, everything like that. So all you guys need to do is make sure you have the image selected, go over to filter and go over to camera raw, or you can do shift control A, it's up to you. And then once it will load, it will look something like this. So you want to head over to the bottom right and it will be a little square. You want to do cycle between before and after views, just click that, and then it's going to come up with a before and after. So then all you want to do is head over to the exposure, and I like to put this up to about 0.35. It kind of just depends on the image. Sometimes it's more, but for this I'll do 0.4. Then you want to up the contrast to about 12 to like 15. It just kind of depends on the image, like I said. And then just mess with the highlights. That's obviously like the brightness and the darkness of the image. I don't really know how else to put it, but I like to up that to about like 18 or something like that. So for me, I'm going to do plus 16. And then the shadows is something you actually want to bring down because that brings out the darks, because as you can see, that just looks really bad. So I like to do it to about minus 13-ish, something along them lines. And then what I like to do is put the whites up to about 35. And as you guys can see, the image is already looking a lot better, but I actually think it's a bit too bright in some places. So I'll bring down the exposure a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do 0.3. Okay, yeah, perfect. And then what I like to do is bring the blacks down to about minus 12. It just, again, depends on the image, really. I don't really like this image I've taken because it's too dark around the hair, so it's going to be harder to cut out and stuff, but it's fine. Like I said, it's an example, so it doesn't matter too much. Then the next step is quite important. What you want to do is bring the texture up to about plus 80, and as you can see, it's going to make the image kind of bring out the details more. So for me, it brings out my bags a lot more, but I like to put the texture to about plus 80, you know, something along them lines. And then I put the clarity to like plus 21. Again, depends on the image, but it pretty much just brings out the textures. The clarity just pretty much brings out the details, so you don't want to go into minuses because that just looks bad. And then the texture just brings out it's kind of like sharpening, I guess that's what you can call it, but you actually do sharpening later on, so not really. But then you want to drop down the details tab, and you're going to want to put the sharpening again up to about 80-ish, and then basically that just brings out some sharpening in the image, so it like just kind of brings out the lines. I'm not too technical with this stuff, I just know how to make a reaction thumbnail. You basically then want to drag the noise reduction until the sharpening effect is then gone. Some people do it on like 20, but I actually like to do a bit more than 20. I do want about 50. Now, as you guys can see, the image does look a lot better. Okay, I don't care what anyone says, guys. You can see the image is a lot better. It makes it look a lot more high quality. If you guys don't believe me, there's literally proof right here. On the left, it looks duller. The right side, it's bringing out all the colors. Now, the next thing you want to do is cut out yourself. So you can either press Q and use the quick selection tool like so, or you can use the pen tool. It just kind of depends on the image. Sometimes quick selection tool won't work, but for me right now, it seems to be working quite well, and it is a faster process. So I'm going to use that for this image. You click to select, and then you hold down Alt on bits you want to remove. So the bits that's selected will be in the image. So you just basically want to remove the background. So I'm going to do that like so. So then you just want to right click and do feather. So I like to put my feather on about 2, so it just smooths it out a little bit. Do Control J and it will then duplicate the layer basically like so. So guys, this is the image cut out. So all you want to do is do Control T and hold down Alt and scale up your image. You basically kind of want like the top of your head like kind of out the frame, and then you can rotate it if you want, and either put it on the left or the right. It just kind of depends. For me personally, I'd have to flip the image, and I don't know, I just feel like that looks a whole lot worse. So I like to keep it on the right like so, and then I just press enter and just adjust it like so. Now, the next thing you want to do is find the background that you want to use for the video. So for me, I'm just going to do the plugged in Fumes, the engineer one. Now, you can either go through the video and select a part of the thumbnail you want, but for the plugged in ones, I think they actually include quite good background images on its own. So I have this plugin called Vivid IQ, which lets me see the stats and the tags and everything like that. So all I have to do is click view full image. But there is, if you copy the link, there's this website called YouTube-thumbnail-grabber. You just paste in the link and you get thumbnail images, and then then you just want to click download HD thumbnail image, and it downloads it, and then you just drag it into the video. You want to make sure it's underneath yourself, and then just do Control T and change it where you want it to be, because you're going to be adding a colored background behind you. So I just want it to make sure plugged in is actually on the screen. Now, one thing you can do with this image is select it and do filter, camera raw filter again, and you can actually adjust these camera settings as well to make sure it matches your like style of the thumbnail, and then boom, that is it adjusted to how you like. Now you just want to head over to the bottom right. You guys can't actually see it right now, so let me just move myself. You want to click the little plus with the square in it, and it's going to create a new layer. Make sure that is dragged underneath your webcam, and then you basically just want to select this little tool here, the rectangle marquee tool, and then just select behind yourself like so. You can adjust it afterwards, and then you just want to pick out a color that you want to use. So since this is blue, I'm going to go with like a blue background, and then just do Alt and backspace, and that basically fills in the background, and then do Control D, which deselects it, and then do Control T, and you can use Shift to adjust how much it kind of like drags out and stuff. So then another thing I like to do is create another new layer. Hold down Alt on the layer and click it in between the lines, and then it's going to create a clipping mask. So then you want to press B to pull out the brush and scale it up quite big, and make sure the hardness is on 0, and make sure the color is on white, and then you just want to kind of like click in the background, and it creates a little white background effect, which I think is a lot better than it just being a solid image. And then another thing I like to do, guys, I know I'm going on a lot, but I want to go in a lot of detail for you guys, so it's easy when you guys go to learn this. You want to make sure you have yourself selected, create a new layer, and create another clipping mask by holding down Alt, and then you want to scale down the brush a little bit, and you basically just want to choose a color similar to the background, and then where it says normal on the right, you want to click that and make sure it's linear dodge brackets add. So then that basically is going to be a little brush effect, as you guys can see, and it's only going to be on yourself. And then you just want to like do a slight brush around, kind of just around yourself, but not make it too much, but something like that I think is quite good. And then just bring the opacity down a little bit to about 75%. But yeah, that's basically that. So as you can see, it just creates like a little nice stroke effect, and basically this is pretty much how I make my reaction thumbnails. As you guys can see, I personally think this is actually really clean. So yeah, it's that simple, guys. Go ahead and try this out yourself, and let me know if you need any help in the comments section. But guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you all are new here, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace out.